Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Today, we are previewing all angles of the upcoming New York Jets season with one of my favorite guests, one of the biggest Jet fans, if not the biggest Jet fan on the planet, the great Joe B. Joe Benigno joins the show. So let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
I'm telling you, bro, this loss ended their season.
Such a joke. I'm glad we got out of there, Joe. Can't believe all the loser Jets fans that stayed.
Bro, I can't take this team anymore. I'm too old for this crap.
Did you hear that? Sounds like they missed that field goal.
Game over, bro. Season over. They can't score, Jake.
Joe, I think we won.
It's good. It's good. Joe, we won. Let's go. Let's go. Get the crew there. Oh, Victor. Yeah!
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jets fans, and let's bring on today's special guest. The last time I saw the great Joe Benigno, we were celebrating in the MetLife Stadium parking lot after the Jets stole one, Joe, against the Giants. They were 4-3, and then it, of course, all fell apart. But in that moment, it was pretty sweet. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, no, we had a fun. That was a crazy day, man. We were there, me, you, Kenny, Scarabaggio. When we were out, we thought it was over. Who's the kicker again for the Giants? Can't remember his name now. Yeah, he got hurt after that, too. Lined up for that field goal, missed the field goal. And we're watching in the parking lot, and they wouldn't let us back in. Jake, they wouldn't let us back in.
No.
We're watching on the big screen, right? That was a tremendous – let me tell you, that pass in overtime by Zach Wilson, who I guess it was Lazard, actually, that made the big catch. That was probably the best pass he made in his whole Jet career. It was up there.
It's unbelievable.
Pulling that game out that was crazy, man. What a day. That was some day. And then, like you said, then it all went down, went into the you-know-what hole after that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, they were 4-3. We're thinking, all right, they still won. Here we go. Right. And then we all know how the season turned out.
And they played that Monday Night Charger game where they just stunk it up. They had that horrible loss to the Raiders where the officials did everything they could to hand the game to Las Vegas. And it just kind of, snowballed from there.
I mean, I went to the Charger game and then flew out to Vegas for the Raider game. So I went 2 straight weeks without seeing the Jets actually score an offensive touchdown.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Terrible. Just terrible.
We got a lot to talk about, Joe.
I'm in my Ranger mode today. Let me just say this. Huge game for the Rangers tonight. Game 5 at the Garden, Conference Finals. Got to win tonight. 6 wins away from a championship. 2 wins away from the finals. I am starving for a championship for one of my teams. And I just want to say this, Jake. I've been a fan of. I started watching sports in 1960. You know the teams I root for. I'm a Jet fan. I'm a Met fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Ranger fan. In all those years, I've seen total 6 championships, 6, and I haven't seen one in 30 years since the Rangers won the last time. So I am starving for a championship. And if we win this, Jake, I'll take you to the parade with me in a couple weeks. How about that?
I'll tell you what, Joe. I'd be happy for you, the true diehard sports fan that you are, but it would pain me to see the Rangers win. I can't lie to you as an Islander fan.
Oh, that's right. You're an Islander guy, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it would.
Hey.
But I'm hoping
what? Let me say this, Jake. I feel a little bad for you because it's been a long time for the Islanders. I mean, I know you had those couple times where they lost to Tampa in the conference finals the last few years ago, but not very good. Not a very good opening round series against Carolina. I'll say that.
No doubt. I am a Yankee fan, though, Joe. So at least I've seen some winning in my life.
The Jets are kind of unlike me. Okay, right? You got the Yankees, okay? I got the Mets, who are an absolute disgrace. There's no other. The season's over. Let me say this about the Mets real quick. Season's over. Back up the truck. You will not know this Met team in August. Let me tell you right now. And we are, to me, this is 1977 all over again for the Mets. When they traded Seaver and all of that. And we're looking at I really believe a number of bad years coming up. I have to say that.
So you're not buying Steve Cohen, spending money to get Juan Soto from the Yankees?
You know what, bro? I'm down on Steve Cohen.
Yeah.
Steve Cohen, you know what Steve Cohen's done? Much like the government we have right now, the gaslighting by Steve Cohen to the Met fans has been absolutely disgraceful. I mean, 2 years ago, this team won 101 games. Last year, he goes out and spends all this money, Verlander, all these different, Scherzer and all those. Scherzer was already here. They collapsed at the end of 22 after the 101-win season. And look where they are now. They're done. This team is done. And he brought in this guy, David Stearns, and I don't know what Stearns is going to be. I know people saying, well, brought in, guys Stearns brought in, Severino, Minaya, these guys have been good, whatever you want to say. The bottom line is he brought Stearns in here because he's a small market GM, and he is going to he got burned with all the money he got burned on with these contracts. I don't care how much money he's got. He got burned with these contracts, and he's looking to run the Mets like a small market team. Get ready. Alonso's gone. McNeil, if anybody wants him. McNeil is gone. Diaz, I think, is gone. If he comes back and he's decent at all, coming back from this injury, I don't even think he's hurt. I just think that they're hiding him for a while because he's been so bad. They're going to get rid of as many guys as they can. They can't trade Lindor because his contract's untradeable. Nobody wants him at $30 million a year. He's got another 7 years. I don't think anybody wants Nimmo. They'll trade probably J.D. Martinez. You will not know this team in August.
What was your reaction before we talked about the Jets, Joe, to Jorge Lopez throwing his glove into the crowd last night, and then in the locker room in the clubhouse basically saying he's a part of the worst team in Major League Baseball?
Well, he's right. I mean, look, he probably shouldn't be throwing the glove in the crowd. And they DFA'd him. They got rid of him.
He's
right
done.
After, he's done. But look, he's not wrong. I mean, what happened to this team, Jake? What's going on here? Something's going on with this team. Because the guys that helped them get to 101 wins 2 years ago, a lot of them are the same guys here. We just talked about it. And it's just not happening. Something's up with this team. I mean, there's no question about it. And I'm telling you, man, you're a Met fan, buckle up, Met fans, for a lot of bad years coming up. I'm telling you right now.
It's a shame because they're honoring Darryl Strawberry coming up, someone well, and the building might be half full with the way they're playing right now.
Well, look, you know what? Darryl's long overdue to get number 18 up to the rafters. I give Cohen credit for that. He's done the right thing. Retired Kuzma's number, retired Doc's number, retired Keats' number. Now Darryl's going up there. My God, my all-time favorite Met. Even the Willie Mays number retirement, I thought was the right thing to do. So I'm happy about that. But it still can't camouflage the disaster that this baseball team is. There's no other way to say it.
All right, well, don't worry because the New York Jets are going to save the day for us, Joe. This is the Jets' time now. I want to start with this.
Let me say this, Jake. From your lips to God's ears. It's only been how many? I'm losing count of the years. 1968. Where are we now? 56 years without a championship, Jake?
That's right.
That's 56, Jake.
I mean, how about
double your lifetime? Just think about it, Jake. Double your lifetime.
Yeah.
That the Jets have not won.
How about 14 seasons since a playoff berth? I mean,
right.
Barack Obama's first term in office the last time the Jets were in the postseason.
Well, and they have the longest streak now without making the playoffs in all professional sports in North America. I mean, come on. I mean, it's 14 years ago now. It's an absolute disgrace. You can't make it up.
All right, well, I have a clip I'm going to play for you, Joe, because I think this is going to kind of, change the mood here. Give us some optimism. So? You were asked during your weekly spot on The Fan with Evan and Tiki what you want the Jets to do this offseason, the number one thing you want them to do. This is what you said back in January.
Nope. Priority number one for this offseason is what?
Beside, an offensive lineman or a wide receiver? Beside those two?
Yeah.
To me, it's a backup quarterback. I cannot emphasize enough how they need a legitimate veteran backup. And, look, he gets hurt a lot, but you got to love Tyrod Taylor. I mean, I'm watching this guy yesterday. He throws a tremendous deep ball. The guy can run. I mean,
You wanted Tyrod. You wanted a lineman. You got both Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. You wanted a receiver. You got Mike Williams and Malachi Corley in the draft. I will say, as far as the offseason goes, Joe, they basically did exactly what you wanted them to do to this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's not forget the kid they drafted, the tackle from Penn State in the first round, which Fasanu, I guess that's how you say his name.
Fashanu, I think it's actually.
How you say it?
Fashanu. Fashanu, yep.
Fashanu. Look, I wouldn't have minded Brock Bowers. I think had that receiver, the receiver been there from Washington, Azunze, how you say his name? Hazunde, however you say his name.
Rome Odunze, yep.
Right. I think they would have took him. I do. But this was the right move, man. They set themselves down. Now, look, we already saw Joe Douglas whiff on Mekhi Becton at left tackle. So we've seen that already. But I thought this was the right move, bringing in this kid. He's going to play, Jake. You know this as well as I do. And I love all the moves they made. I love Tyrod Smith. I love Morgan Moses. Mike Williams I love. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor, but he does get hurt a lot. You got to keep that in mind. But, the moves they made, I like it. But guys on the offensive line are getting hurt. I mean, even Vera Tucker. I mean, can we rely on this guy? 2 years in a row, he's gotten hurt early in the season and was done. So Fasano's going to play. I don't think there's any doubt about it. A lot, and I like the pick. I do.
Yeah, for me, I look at it like this: like, what's more likely to derail the Jet season? Is it a lack of weapons, or is it the O-line? And to me, it's clearly the O-line with Aaron Forty coming off injury, and they've led the NFL in offensive line injuries the last couple of years. So,
in general, Jake, I think injuries in general, you can use that term. And look, he's got Tyron Smith played 13 games last year. If he plays 13 games for us this year, I'd sign for it right now.
Yeah,
13 games out of Tyron Smith. Mike Williams played 3 more games than I did last year in the NFL. All right. So, you got to be worried about him. We mentioned Taylor and his injury problems. Obviously, Rodgers, the biggest of all, coming off a major Achilles injury, and he's 40 years old. So, there's a lot of Vera Tucker, we mentioned him. There's a lot of things you got to be concerned about. But on paper, you look at this team on paper, they're good. They're good. It's just a matter now of them getting it done. And I'll believe it when I see it, Jake. I hate to say it, but I mean, how else can, for a guy I've been watching him since 1965, it's like I said, it's 56 years without a championship here, without even, getting to a Super Bowl. So I'm not going to believe it until I see it, but I certainly like what they've done in the offseason. No doubt.
You wanted Tyrod Taylor. Obviously, we know that he does come with some injury risk, but if they had Tyrod Taylor last year, Joe, I don't think it's crazy to say they're a 10-7 team, at least with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would give them 3 more wins if they had a legitimate backup quarterback last year. I agree. I'm with you on that.
How do you feel about this head coach?
The biggest mistake Joe Douglas, in my mind, besides drafting Wilson, the biggest mistake Douglas has made is not having a backup immediately. As soon as Rodgers went down, you just can't hand the reins to Zach Wilson. You just can't do that. And they did.
The head coach, Joe, you and Robert Saleh, of course, have a relationship. Your thoughts on him entering what is basically a do or die year 4?
Well, it's funny. I just texted him a little while ago. I saw on SNY that he's getting more involved in the offense. So I shot him a text. I said, Coach, I see you getting more involved in the offense. I said, look, if you need some help, I'm available. He did get back to me with an LOL, and he said it's really not that big. It's no more than what he normally does, pretty much. Well, and then I asked him, when are we playing golf? And I didn't get an answer back. So.
Yeah, obviously, you look at his tenure, Joe. He hasn't won yet. I mean, he's been dealt a crappy hand, as we all know, with the quarterback situation.
Hold on. The hand may be crappy, but the bottom line is he's 18-33, Jay.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
And the only reason he's still here is because Aaron Rodgers wants him. That's it.
Right. But he's also had the worst quarterback situation in the league the last 3 years. So, but when you look at him as a head coach, though, what do you like about him? What concerns you about him? Because it hasn't been all bad. Like, at least he's an expert on his side of the ball. The team still plays hard for him. They won 3 of their final 5. He's winning games with Trevor Siemian. They're down 10 after losing Rodgers opening night. I thought that was unbelievable. They came back and won that game. The Eagle game without Sauce and DJ Reed and all that. There's been moments, and he hasn't had the quarterback. So are you choosing to maybe lean a little more positive with this head coach, or as you just bring up the record, you're just going, I got to see it before I fully buy in?
Yeah, that's what that's where I'm at. In general with the team, Jake. I can't. I'm investing too much. I'm 70 years old now. I'll be 71 by the time this season is over. I've invested too much in this team. I got to see it. I mean, I'm tired of, they're great. It's all year. And, whatever Vegas is saying about him and all that. Here's what I want, okay? I don't expect them to win the Super Bowl this year. I don't. I mean, if people do, I don't. If they do, believe me, we'll all be doing a dance when we're on the float. We'll all be on the float for that.
We'll be in New Orleans for the game leading up to the week, too.
That's exactly right. That could be dangerous. But, yes, no doubt about it. But what I was going to say was, until I see this team win, at least win the division. The division's there to be won. New England is a complete rebuild. Who knows what they're going to be with Jared Mayo and Drake May? We have no idea. Buffalo took a big hit. They still have the great – Josh Allen is a great quarterback. Can't dispute that. But they lost a lot of guys. They lost Stephon Diggs. They lost a number of guys on their defense, especially in secondary. You got to think Buffalo's coming down a little bit. That window is starting to, get a little tighter for them. And then I don't know what Miami is. I don't think they're that great. We saw them collapse at the end of the year. I don't think their defense is great. They lost Wilkins on defense. They lost a couple other guys on defense as well. Van Ginkel, I think they lost him too. So they lost a few guys here. I don't know how good Tua Tagovailoa is. I mean, right now they're in the middle of a contract. They're afraid to give him money. Let's be honest, right? They're afraid to give him $50 million because they don't know. He's had injury. He's had concussion issues. He didn't play most of the year last year. So, but the bottom line, Jake, is the division's there to be won. Let's go win it. That's it.
Well, that to me is where it starts, right? That this is a franchise that hasn't had a home playoff game since Herm Edwards and Chad Pennington were in charge of this franchise.
How about that? Hard to believe, right? 22 years ago, bro, 2002.
It's crazy. But to your point on the division, like if the Jets had done nothing but they got Aaron back, to me, they're a much better team. And I love, as we kind of covered at the beginning of the conversation here, I love what they've done this offseason. And I think what helps the Jets is the division around them got worse and their schedule. I know there's some night games and some travel and all that, but they don't play the Chiefs. They don't play the Bengals. They don't play the Ravens. If not now, then when for this team to win the AFC East? Like that to me is the minimum goal in the regular season to win this division.
Yeah, no question. By the way, let me the schedule's terrible. I mean, the fact that half of their home games are night games, okay? You got to go to London to play Minnesota, 6 night games overall. I hate that. You got to open in San Francisco with the Niners. I mean, could they give us a tougher game? I mean, come on.
Wouldn't you rather play them, though, early than late? I mean, get it out of the right way. If you lose, hey, it's a non-conference game, and then you play Will Levis, Drake May, Zach Wilson.
Yeah, right. That's true.
And Sam Darnold.
Look, I mean, the good news about that game is we'll be an underdog, and the expectation level in that game will be very low. So I guess from that aspect, it's not too bad.
I'll tell you what, though, you look at the schedule, though, after that, Joe. I mean, like, yeah, there's some difficult games with the three games in 10 days to start. But, listening to like Rodgers talk about it last week, it's like you rather that be early. And you know what? Like, look at some of these quarterback matchups that favor the Jets.
I don't mean to jump on you, but they should be, you look at the schedule, the first 4 games, they should be 3-1 going to London. 3-1 going to London.
And 4-1 going into that Bills game on Monday Night Football.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, how do you feel about the fact that they play Miami in December, so you don't have to worry about the hot weather advantage Miami has early in the year, and they end the year against a Dolphins team, maybe that decides the division, a playoff spot, and Tua's never won a game when the temperature's below 45 degrees. I love the fact they end with Miami at home.
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that. It's kind of like the old days with the Tampa Bay Bucks when they could never win when it was below 40 degrees.
Yeah.
When they were in the NFC North there for a while. Yeah, I mean, look, again, the pieces are there that I don't think the defense we know is solid. They lost a couple guys. I mean, they did lose Huff, but they did bring in Reddick, who's better. I mean, I think he's better. They did lose John Franklin Myers, who was kind of a glue core type guy, but money, you're going to have casualties with the money. They brought in this guy, Kinlaw. We'll see what he turns out to be. But the defense is there. Quinton Williams is still there. Quincy Williams is still there. Mosley's there. Gardner, Reed, Michael Carter. They still got a lot of guys. Tony Adams, who I think is a solid player for them, in the secondary. So, they still got all these guys there. They got to win. I mean, it really comes down to that.
We're talking, of course, to the great Joe B. If you're watching live right now, hit the like button. If you have a question for Joe, we'll bring it up on the screen. Super chats, we'll cut the line. I got asked this yesterday, Joe. Which fan base do you despise the most out of the Dolphin fans, the Patriot fan, or the Bill fan? For me, it's still the Patriots. But I will say this, the arrogance by the Dolphin fan when their franchise has not won a single playoff game since Bill Clinton was in office, and the Jets, who haven't made the playoffs since 2010, have won 6 playoff games since the last time the Dolphins have won one. I might change my answer by the end of this year if New England's terrible again, because I'm just seeing these Dolphins fans. They're so arrogant. They won nothing. They act like they're the Patriot fan. At least they won. They drive me nuts. But I still would say New England, but I'm curious your take on that.
I hate them all. Let's be honest. I hate them all. I mean, I can't look. I mean, for years, the team I despised the most is the Dolphins. You know, when I'm growing up, I hated Miami, especially Shula. I hated Shula. You know, he hated the Jets because the Jets stuck it to him when he, in Super Bowl III when he was the coach of the Colts. He never got over that. He hosed us in 82 by taking, it rained 4 days in a row, torrential rains in Miami. They don't have a tarp in Miami come on, what a joke. So he hosed us in that championship game. So I always, the fake spike, had great respect for Marino, but hated the Marino years. We beat him a lot, though. We did beat Marino a lot over the years. It's pretty close, but whatever. So I hated Miami, and then it became more of New England. I hated them. And I never really hated the Bills that much. When the Bills were on their run of 4 straight Super Bowls, I rooted for them in every one of them, to be honest with you. I wanted to see them win. I had nothing against them. My team stunk. I didn't really care. They hadn't won in a long time. They were kind of a likable team. So I kind of rooted for them in those Super Bowls, but I hate them. I hate them too. I can't stand Josh Allen. Their fan base, please give me a break. What I've heard, now I've never been to a game in Buffalo. I've been in New England. I've been in Miami. I've never been to a game in Buffalo. What I hear is their fans are the worst of anybody.
Horrible. I will never go back. I went to the Jets-Bills game 2016. Fitzpatrick was the Jet quarterback.
Right.
It was week 2. It was a Thursday night game, and the Jets actually won the game. And it was the most miserable experience I've ever been at. And I've been to, I've been to Yankees, Red Sox at Fenway. I've been to, plenty of road venues. I'll never go to a Jets-Bills game again. It was so bad that night, Joe, that my friend who I was with, who was a Bills fan, was like, take off your Jet gear when you're walking back to your car in the parking lot. It's not worth it. Like, that's how bad it was that night. And everyone was getting liquored up because it was September. Weather was nice. Thursday night game. I will never go back to Buffalo. It was the worst experience I've ever had as a Jet fan.
Yeah, I've heard it's really brutal. So but I hate them all, Jake. I mean, I hate everybody. I hate everybody that's not my team.
Yeah.
I mean, how else can I say?
Right. It's well said at this point. Now, here's another question I had for you, Joe, because you go back to this team since you said 1965. Who is on the Mount Rushmore of New York Jets?
The Mount Rushmore, I think it's pretty simple, isn't it? Namath, Maynard, Curtis Martin, Joe Klecko. Pretty easy.
Yeah, I think that'd be the 4. So, and then Revis probably just misses it then, right?
Yeah, I don't think Revis is hurt by the fact that he went to New England. I mean, it's not, you can't, I mean, the Tampa situation, fine. The fact that he went and played for them and won a Super Bowl there, I've talked about this over and over, bro. Okay. And I like Revis. Don't get me wrong, he's a great player. No doubt, Hall of Famer. We were there. We
were there together.
We were there mostly for Klecko, but we Revis as well. But, how many, look at all the numbers. This makes me crazy. The number of, for the guys out there that don't know this, number 1 Jet draft choices that have won Super Bowls with other teams. Okay, it starts with John Riggins. Then you got Burgess Owens, who now is a great congressman in Utah. Burgess Owens, who won that Super Bowl with the Raiders. You got a guy like James Farrier with Pittsburgh, Keyshawn Johnson with Tampa Bay, right? We go right on down the line with Revis with the Patriots. I'm missing a couple guys here somewhere. I don't have them all in mind right now, but those are just 5 of them, So that really irks me. The amount of number 1 draft choices that were for our team that have gone somewhere else and won a Super Bowl. It's very disheartening.
I'll tell you what, a year from now, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, they're eligible for extensions, and the Jets need to make sure they stay Jets their entire careers. They can't make a previous mistake with Sauce. And Garrett Wilson, I mean, you've seen them all, Joe. I think he has a chance, if he stays healthy, to be the greatest receiver this franchise has ever had, and that includes Don Maynard, who's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, there's a lot, that encompasses a lot of area. I mean, you got Maynard, you got Toon, you got Wesley Walker, you got Wayne Corbett, you got Keyshawn. They've had a lot of great receivers over the years. I mean, even the year, not that I would put Marshall and Decker in that category because they weren't around that long, but, they had that monster year in 2015. Marshall actually had the best year any Jet ever had statistically. Let me not forget great George Sauer as well, who played with Maynard in the championship team and had he had a great game in the Super Bowl. So the Jets have always had, damn good receivers. Wilson is great. My one issue with Wilson is he changed his freaking number. And I am so ticked off at him for this. He should you know what they should do? For everybody that went out and bought number 17 jerseys like me, I actually bought 3 of them. I got one for me, one for my grandson, one for my wife. For all these people that did that, these jerseys are not cheap. I went to get a Sauce Gardner jersey for my 10-year-old grandson the other day. Right? I went to Dick's Sporting Goods. You know how much for the kids' jersey now? $130. Come on.
It's
really?
crazy.
And then this guy changes his number, and come on. They should reimburse us. You should be able – the NFL should have this. When a guy changes his number, you should be able to get the old jersey and bring it to wherever, maybe bring it to the Jet shop or whatever, and get it exchanged for a new Garrett Wilson number 5 jersey. That should be able to be done. So I'm a little ticked about that. I really am. And I think what I'm going to do is give the 17 to the Salvation Army. Is what I'm going to do.
I'm sure you've had a lot of those jerseys over the years. You've had to donate to the Salvation Army.
I'll tell you the ones I've gotten rid of. My Muhammad Wilkerson jersy, that went quickly after he got paid and became a complete dog after that.
Which is crazy because it's no secret. I grew up a huge Joe and Evan fan, and I mean, you guys had a weekly with Mo, and I loved him. Right. I'm like, they got to pay him, and they paid him, and he became a stiff.
He became a complete stiff. Santonio Holmes. I don't know why I got his jersey. He had the first year with the Jets. He was really good. He was good. 2010, the 1 year they had him was good. Then they paid him, and he went off into the hinterland as well. Yeah. I got rid of that jersey. My great partner, Evan Roberts, for all those years, as a joke, gave me a Vernon Golston jersey. That didn't last. I think it lasted 2 days in the house before that went. That didn't last too long. Has anybody else I've gotten? I'm trying to think of anybody else over the years I've gotten rid of.
Zach Wilson?
Never got Zach. I'm very hard on I'm very, very hard grader when it comes to quarterbacks. The only jerseys I have, obviously, Namath, right? I have Namath, I have Chad Pennington, and I have Vinny Testaverde. That's it. I came close to getting Sanchez, but I did not get Sanchez. Those are the 3. That's it for quarterbacks. And I will not get an Aaron Rodgers jersey. If he wins me the Super Bowl, number 8 will be there. Until then, no Aaron Rodgers.
I've been told from a source, Joe, that you will do ayahuasca with Aaron if the Jets win the Super Bowl this year.
Hey, look, if the Jets win the Super Bowl, I'll buy him the ayahuasca. I'm not going into the black hole, though. That ain't happening. If I go into the black hole, I'm going with my wife. You know what I
mean? Joe Benigno with us here. Comments, questions, super chats. TB wants to know, you don't have a Tim Boyle jersey?
No, Tim Boyle. Well, he was great, huh? How bad was he? Oh, my God.
I could confidently say Zach Wilson is better than at least one quarterback, and that quarterback is Tim Boyle.
He's clearly better than Tim Boyle. There's no question about it.
Oh, my God.
They might. You know what? If they didn't play Boyle in that game against Miami, because Boyle will always live in infamy throwing that interception, that 100-yard interception return on the Hail Mary before halftime, right? He lives in Jet infamy with that. If Trevor Siemian started that game, I don't know if they would have won, but it would have been a much more competitive game.
Were you there that day for the Black Friday game? Yeah. So you didn't see the debacle that right after that play, they cut. It's an Amazon Prime game. They cut to a commercial of Saleh, and it's a Colgate commercial of him brushing his teeth, and it was like it just added to the moment of just embarrassment for the Jets. Sure, ask any Jet fan who watched the game on TV that day. The Saleh Colgate commercial.
Unfortunately, Jake, that was the Black Friday game. And it was extremely black.
It was awful. Absolutely awful. Franco noticed something that I wanted to bring up because it's so great. So your wife, the lovely Terry, she's always on your podcast, All the Pain. She's always laughing in the background. You could hear it when you listen. And here on this YouTube interview, Joe, we can hear your wife laughing in the background, which helps enhance the show, I must say.
Yeah, no, she's right. She's right to the left here. She's with one of the cats in her lap right now. I told you, we're getting ready to play golf today. So, She does kind of make it. I know a lot of people think it's they like hearing her cracking up all the time.
I love it. All right. So you brought up Vernon Golston because I had this. I wanted to do. We talked about the current state of affairs. I wanted to do some all-time Jets history stuff with you. You gave me the Mount Rushmore. How about the Mount Rushmore of the worst draft picks in the history of the Jets? I know Golston's on there, but who are the other 3?
Wow, there's a lot of guys that There's so many guys that we could go. Zach may be number one. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, when you look at the worst draft choices they've ever had, I mean, when consider that he was the second pick in the draft, you might have to put Zach Wilson ahead of Vernon Gholston.
He's the worst quarterback that ever played that many games for the Jets. Like, I'm not counting, like Luke Falk, who played a couple games for the coach. But I mean, Zach Wilson started 34, 35 games. Like, there's never been anyone worse in my lifetime.
Yeah, he's pretty no. And but there's so many guys. Johnny Mitchell was a disaster. Blair Thomas was a disaster. Roger Vick, if you remember him, was a disaster. We could go we could go on and on. About how many guys that were just, absolutely horrible number one draft choice. You go back to Steve Tannen in 1970, a defensive back out of Florida, who was a disaster. Lee White in 1969, who, right after they won the Super Bowl, running back from Weber State. I mean, they have cornered the market. I mean, Mekhi Becton, how about that draft? Nobody talks about it enough. Everybody goes gaga over Douglas. His first draft ever is Mekhi Becton, number one, and Denzel Mims, number two. The third pick in the draft was Ashton Davis, who somehow is still here.
Yeah.
But, for a third round pick, really, so there's been so many.
Braden Mann was in that draft class too.
But I'll tell you, let me just stop it for a second. Probably when you really break it all down, I mentioned Wilson, the worst pick. I got a guy worse than Wilson. This guy is probably the worst draft choice the Jets ever
I know what
had.
you're going to say.
When you think about it,
Yep.
Guy was a second-round pick,
Yep.
and that's Hackenberg. Right? Think about it.
He never played a professional snap in the league. Yeah.
Second-round pick quarterback, bro. Never even got on the field in an NFL game. Come on. What was his first name again? What was Hackenberg's?
Christian Hackenberg.
Oh, Christian, right.
Terrible. And so I did radio in Houston for 6 years, and I would always say this to Bill O'Brien when he was the coach of the Texans. His best coaching job ever was when Bill was at Penn State, right. And he made Hackenberg look like he was going to be a future first-round pick.
And Mike McCagnon couldn't wait to draft him. Mike McCagnon was falling over himself to draft this guy. What a disgrace. So when you look at the fact that he never played, and it was a high pick, second round, and he was a quarterback, you're a second-round pick quarterback. That guy's got to be playing at some point, you would think, right? Let's be honest. It's probably Hackenberg.
All right. How about the Mount Rushmore of the worst Jet head coaches in your lifetime?
Boy, there's a lot of those guys. Well, there's so many. Obviously, Richie Kotite is the guy that's going to stand out all the time. Charlie Winter was an absolute disaster, after he took over for Weeb Eubank. Lou Holtz didn't even last a year. Great college coach, but absolutely disaster as an NFL coach. And you know what? I know he had a winning season at 9-7, Al Groh, right? And I understand, I'm forgetting about Adam Gase. He was horrible, and Bowles was horrible. But I've always been ticked off at Al Groh. Here's this guy, he gets the Jet job, right, in 2000, after the whole debacle with Belichick and Parcells and all of that nonsense. He gets the Jet job. They're 9-4, bro, right? 9-4. We're like, they had the big win over to Miami, to come back, win the miracle at the Meadowlands, right? Vinny with the pass to Jumbo Elliott, the whole thing, that unbelievable game, and they come back against the Dolphins. They're 9-4. We're all pumped up. And then Al Groh, and we didn't know it at the time, but it was probably true, already had one foot out the door to go take the Virginia job. And what happens? The Jets collapse. They lose the last 3 games of the year. That brutal loss to the Lions, what was it, like 10-6 or whatever that game was. The offensive lineman for the Lions recovers a fumble in the end zone for what turns out to be the game-winning touchdown. They lose the game to the Raiders on a Sunday night. And then the Christmas Eve disaster against the Ravens, when they blow that 14-0 lead early. And, the interception by McAllister as he's running down the sideline before halftime. And then Al Groh's on his way out the door to Virginia. So I got a major issue with Al Groh. I'll say that.
That's fair. Now, here's a question I have for you. It's not the best Jets players ever. You already gave the Mount Rushmore, but Joe Benigno's personal favorite top 4 Jets players of all time.
Oh, my personal favorites. Oh, that's a tough one. I just on the team now, I love Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall has a chance to be the best back we ever had. I know Curtis Martin's phenomenal. Matt Snell or Emerson Boozer, those guys. Freeman McNeil. We had had some, top running backs. Even John Riggins, who doesn't get enough credit, played 5 years for the Jets, was a terrific player here. You don't forget that because he had issues and, it was too much. They should have ran the ball more than they did. They would have been a lot better team. But I like Breece Hall. I think he has a chance to be just a great back. I mean, if he stays healthy, with this offensive line, he's a game changer. I mean, you look at the kind of year he had last year. He almost rushed for 1,000 yards last year on a team with a brutal offensive line. I think he scored 9 touchdowns. I think he led the team in touchdowns. And generally, when he scores a touchdown, they win. So I really like Breece Hall. I know it's a position now that's really been kind of, isn't looked at in the regard it once was, as we all know. But I really love Breece Hall. But I'm gonna give you a guy. I love Chad Pennington. I thought when Chad Pennington was healthy, we won.
Correct.
When he played, we won. Mark Gastineau, who should be in the Hall of Fame. Let's be honest about it. It is a joke that Mark Gastineau is not in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the premier pass rushers that ever lived. You look at Klecko, and Klecko's great. He's the best defensive player we ever had. But a lot of Klecko's success was based on what Gastineau was doing on the outside. I mean, let's be honest. 4-time Pro Bowl, All-Pro, not just Pro Bowl. I think Klecko was All-Pro twice. I believe Gastineau was 4. It might be 3, but it was more than Klecko, right? He had over 100-something sacks, whatever it was. He held the sack record forever until Brett Favre decided to hand it to Michael Strahan. How is this guy not in the Hall of Fame? But we know the answer. And in a lot of ways, and I love Joe and I love Marty Lyons. I love Klecko, I love Marty. But those guys, I know they still really don't like Gastineau, okay? There's still, I think, deep, lingering negativity towards him with those guys. And I need those guys to go to bat for Gastineau while he's still got some, because we know how messed up he is, while he still can appreciate that he's, standing on the stage in Canton. And I think it's long overdue. I think guys like I've talked to Gary Myers about it, different writers, because Myers was so instrumental in getting Joe Klecko in. I think Gastineau should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I'm sorry. He was one of the premier pass rushers of all time.
Let's hope Will McDonald rocking the Gastineau number could take a big step forward as a pass
rusher.
rusher.
Well, I mean, look, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. He's basically the guy. I understand Reddick is there, but he's basically the guy that's taking over Bryce Huff. Let's be honest.
And JFM, yeah.
Yeah.
Comments, questions, super chats for Joe B. This one is from Gator, who says, how is your relationship with Robert Saleh now?
I told you, I texted him earlier. He got back to me. We're all right. I think we're fine. I think what happened during the season was kind of blown out of proportion. I don't think Saleh.
That's what I said on this show, by the way. I went to bat for you, Joe.
Right. Well, Saleh put it to bed. I methey asked him at the press conference after that all went down. He says, he likes me. I like Joe B. And that's it. As a person, I love Saleh. I think he's a tremendous person. You can't be a better guy. But, he's got to get it done as a head coach. But I think we're cool. I think we're all right. Like I said, I text him. He responds.
How's his golf game, Joe? You played golf with him last summer.
We only played that one day. I see Stephen Hill with the draft picks too. He was brutal. D. Milner, right? I forgot about him. Who's the other safety we had too? The guy out of Louisville that stunk.
Calvin Pryor, yeah.
Oh my God, Calvin. And let's not forget the immortal Kyle Wilson.
His head is still turned. Looking the other way, right. Joe.
Victor Cruz is still running. You know what I mean? You know the deal. Don't even get me going on that. But we're back. Where are we? Back at Saleh? How's Saleh's golf game? He can hit the ball a long way. He's a big guy. He can really hit it a long way. Little erratic. His short game was okay. He's a decent golfer. He holds his own well.
Hoboken Jet fan writes in. He's been an Asmaniac for 2 months, Joe. We love our Jake Asman Asmaniacs. Thoughts on Saleh rolling with 3 QBs? Roster spots are tight, but last year's backup plan was a disaster. Rodgers at 40, Tyrod Taylor's injury history, one more vet. Well, I mean, they obviously took Jordan Travis, but the question's going to be, is he going to be cleared in time for training camp?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they are. I like the pick. The kid was great at Florida State. All he did was win. It's unfortunate that he got hurt. That's probably why Florida State didn't get into the playoff, because of him, because he didn't, he was hurt. Even though he went undefeated. Let's see. I mean, I'm not ready to bring another veteran in yet. Let's see where we are. You got Rodgers, we got Taylor. If something again happens to Rodgers, then you got to look at another veteran guy. I don't think you're going to see Travis for a while. He's a complete project down the road. Yeah, hopefully he turns into the guy. Well, best case scenario, 2 years from now, Rodgers leaves, hopefully with a Super Bowl and a trophy, but Rodgers leaves and Travis turns out to be the quarterback. We can only hope.
The great Mr. Bonesy writes in, can you tell Joe to give us a salsa preview of how he will dance if we win the division?
Well, here it is. Little Victor Cruz dance. Oh, Victor. You're showing it right now. No, I'm not dancing now. I'm not in my dancing mode. Yeah, I do dance a lot, and let's be honest, for an old man, which I am, I'm a decrepit, I'm 70 years old. I got a lot of moves, bro.
I've seen it, Joe. I've seen it. You move great, bro.
Let's tell it like it is. For an old man like me, I got more moves than X-Lax.
The big fellow writes in, can we agree that Matt Snell should have been Super Bowl III MVP? Also, Altitude is the greatest wide receiver I ever saw in a Jets uniform.
You can certainly make the case for Snell being the MVP. I mean, he was phenomenal. 121 yards rushing. He scored the only touchdown of the game. And that really was the game plan. I mean, the game plan was to run the football. I think Namath here's my feeling why Namath won the MVP. First of all, he guaranteed to win.
Yep.
Right? Guarantees to win. And here's something that you will never see in football again. Joe Namath called that entire game from the line of scrimmage. People don't understand that. The entire game was called. It was basically an audible from the line of scrimmage by Namath. And that gets lost in the shuffle because quarterbacks don't do that anymore. Nobody's calling their whole game anymore. Maybe Rodgers calls more of his own game. With Peyton Manning and Brady and those guys, maybe they were calling more of their own game than we realized. But you're talking about, the veteran top guys. Back in those days, the quarterbacks called their plays until Tom Landry decided, that I got to call the plays and have shuffling quarterbacks with Staubach and Craig Morton there for a while. But, so I think that's a big part of it. But look, if Snell would have got that MVP, I would have had no problem with it. And you know what? Matt Snell was a tremendous player for the Jets. Underrated, great running back. No doubt about it.
Joe, what was the game or the moment in your lifetime as a Jet fan that made you the angriest? A moment like this.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.
What year was that, man? That's a long time ago.
It could have been. I think that was after they collapsed in 2008 and Mangini lost his job. I think that was the date on that.
The lowest moment for me, and I've had so many, it still has to be the debacle in Cleveland in January '87.
Mm-hmm.
Double overtime loss to the Browns.
The Gastineau penalty.
20-10 lead with 5 minutes to go, and basically, and everybody blames Gastineau, but I blame the coach. I blame Joe Walton. He destroyed that team. Walton was a terrible coach. I mean, you talk. I should put him in the list of terrible coaches. He should be right at the top. You talk to guys like Klecko, the guys that played for him, and they'll tell you he was just a brutal coach. They all love Walt Michaels. It's unfortunate what happened with Michaels. I think Michaels obviously had a drinking problem. Whatever happened on that plane ride coming back from Miami with Leon Hess and his wife and everything. I've heard so many different stories from everybody. Bruce Harper has told me the story that happened there. Wesley told me what went down on that. Joe did. Everybody told me, Klecko, what happened on that plane ride. But they all can't stand Joe Walton. Joe Walton was a terrible, terrible head coach. He had a lot of talent on that team. Kenny O'Brien was probably a better quarterback than he got credit for, but Walton was terrible. And I blame him for that loss more than anything else.
Gonzo wants to know who is the most underrated / underappreciated Jet of all time?
That's a tough one. Most underappreciated, underrated Jet of all time. I got two guys that jump out at me. Number one is Lance Mel, who was a great linebacker for us in the 80s. You can make a case the best linebacker we ever had. He tore his knee up against the Saints. It's funny. The day he tore his knee up against New Orleans in 1986, the night before was the Bill Buckner game at Shea Stadium, Game 6 of the World Series. I was at that game, right? It seemed like I just basically left Shea Stadium to go right to the Meadowlands to that Jet game. And Altoona, I remember, had a big game. Saints won. Saints won. We beat the Saints that day. But Lance Mel wound up tearing up his knee. He was a tremendous player for us. The 2 big interceptions in the playoff win against the Raiders in '82 in the LA Coliseum. I'll never forget that. And, the other guy is DeBrickashaw. I don't think he gets enough credit.
Great answer.
Think about this. Think about this in this world we live in now with everybody with the injuries in not just the NFL, but in pro sports in general. This guy played every snap of his career. He missed one play. And what he played, 9-10 years for the Jets? He missed one play in all those years. I mean, you talk.
And it was a trick play. It was a trick play that he missed.
Right. I think Brickashaw Ferguson does not get enough credit. You could make a case probably the greatest offensive lineman we ever had. I would probably venture to make that statement.
DeBrickashaw came to mind for me. I also got 2 for you, Joe. I immediately thought of Jericho Cotchery as well. One of the more clutch, big plays in playoff games. And
real good player on a lot of good teams.
Yep. And a guy who never got to experience the playoffs with the Jets because he was drafted the year after the second trip with Rex to the championship game, but was a career Jet.
He was on the team that lost to the Patriots with Mangini. He was definitely on that team. I think he got a touchdown pass in that game.
No, I'm not talking about Cotchery. I'm talking about Bilal Powell, who was drafted at 20.
Bilal Powell, yeah. I didn't hear you say Bilal Powell. Bilal Powell was a good player.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons we didn't make the playoffs, am I thinking of Powell? Yeah. Bilal got injured for that game against Buffalo in 2015.
And he told my show, Joe, I had him on, I asked him about it. He goes, he basically was pleading his case to play that week to Bowles, and Bowles was like, we need you healthy for the playoffs. Like they just assumed they were going to go into Buffalo and win, and it bothered Bilal that he wasn't allowed to even give it a go and play because he was banged up.
Yeah, no, terrible. No doubt about it.
Terrible, Super Chat. This one's from
Bilal Powell underrated, but he's hurt constantly. Constant injuries.
Doc writes it. Joe, how do you feel about our defense against the run?
I know it wasn't great last year. We got some injuries in the middle of the defensive line. I'm not worried about it. I'm not. The defense to me is the least of the problems right now. I'm not worried about the defense. I'm really not.
Well, the offense actually, scores points and they're on the field. The defense won't be exhausted and be on the field the entire year.
That's right.
I'll give you the stat I gave you on the phone the other day. Aaron Rodgers, 81-10 in his career when the defense allows less than 20 points.
You told me that. Well, let's hope that continues. 81-10. That's
pretty good.
Yeah.
Connie Carberg is watching the show, Joe. She is, of course, synonymous with the Jets, the first female scout in NFL history. Yes.
Connie.
You got to get Connie on your podcast.
But didn't Connie find Gastineau?
Connie did, in fact, find Gastineau. Yes.
Connie should be if she's listening right now. Connie, you should be banging the drums to get Gastineau in the Hall of Fame. Let's go.
She knows, and Connie should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well as a contributor. She's the first female scout in NFL history.
She's got my vote.
She wrote in, as Walt Michaels would say, the name of the game is get the quarterback, and that's what Gastineau did. So she's on board with Gastineau to the Hall of Fame, of course.
Yeah, but I really think that Klecko and Lyons have to get on board with it, man. I really do. I mean, I love both those guys. Joe's the best. I love Joe. I mean, he's up there maybe just below Namath as my all-time favorite Jet. It's close. But him and Marty those are the guys. They got to start to go to bat for Gastineau while he's still alive. I really believe that.
V-Man checks in. Joe, top 5 New York Jets quarterback wide receiver duos. Namath to Maynard, Todd to Walker, O'Brien to Toon, Testaverde to Corbett, Pennington to Coles. Do you agree?
Wow. Interesting group.
Who would be the top quarterback receiver duo? It's got to be Namath to Maynard, right? They're both in the Hall of Fame that won.
Got to be Namath to Maynard. They won. No doubt about it. Kenny threw the ball. Kenny had some big games with Wesley, too. I mean, the biggest game Wesley ever had was the game against Miami, the overtime with a 51-45 game in '86 against the Dolphins when Wesley caught 4 touchdown passes in that game, including the touchdown pass that tied the game on the last play of regulation and then the one in overtime. So, Kenny not only throwing it to Al, but to Wesley as well, no doubt.
ISU writes in, Joe, what do you think is the catalyst, the moment that set us on our current playoff list streak? To me, it feels like when Sparano was hired to coach the offense in 2012, we never got back on track yet. I already know what you're going to say, Joe, but I'm going to allow you to say it. The moment when that set the Jets franchise back and where they still are today.
Well, I mean, I think it's I think it starts with the loss in Buffalo. I mean, doesn't it? I mean, we had this. We haven't this year in Bowles' first year. Fitzpatrick has, you could make a case as good a year as any. He threw more touchdown passes that year than any Jet quarterback ever did, which is stunning when you think about it. He threw 30. That's the record, 31. They were playing as well as anybody in football. They'd won 5 games in a row. They beat the Patriots, that overtime win. He hits Decker for the game winner. That great win against the Giants when they beat them in overtime as well.
Yep.
A big pass to Brandon Marshall in that game. They were playing as well. They were as dangerous as any team in the NFL if they had made the playoffs that year. And that loss in Buffalo really set them, on the downward spiral. And look, they never recovered.
I thought you were going to go even further back. I thought you were going to say the Victor Cruz game, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess that's it. You're right. I forgot. I wasn't, I heard a phone ring. So, yeah, the Victor Cruz game in 2011, right, when the Giants go to the Super Bowl and we go to the toilet. Yep.
I mean, from like a rec standpoint, they never recovered after that game. It was all downhill.
And really, the biggest we'll talk off the field here for a second. The biggest mistake that Woody Johnson has made was letting Rex go. They should have never let not Rex and Tannenbaum. He let Tannenbaum go first, and then he brought in John Idzik, who was an absolute, unmitigated disaster, and then he lets Rex go as well. If they would have held on to Tannenbaum and Rex, they would have figured it out. They would have. I thought they were a great combination, and that was a massive mistake by Woody Johnson.
Well, here's my issue with Woody amongst the many things we could complain about. You were standing right there next to me when he said, "I will come on your show, Jake." He knew the YouTube show. He acknowledged it. You were standing right there. He told me to contact the Jet PR guy and we all know who I'm referring to. And Woody to this day still has not come on the show. They got back to me. Oh, he's not doing any interviews. He's only going to do the Michael K show if he does a radio spot. And I'm like, wait a second. The owner told me he'd come on the show. And
they're not even on that station. Aren't they on like one of the rock stations now?
Correct. That starts this year though. But last year they were still on the station I do work for, 98.7. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, look, I mean, what do you expect? Come on.
I did love what you said to Woody though. When you were just giving him like a laundry list of like things you wanted to say, and Woody says to you, "Joe, you can't say I haven't done everything possible for this season." And then we lost Aaron 4 plays in, and it didn't even matter.
Look, there's reasons why I like Woody that have nothing to do with football, but he hasn't been the greatest owner. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Well, his brother's worse. I mean, that's my fear. I mean, his brother said we hired Adam Gase because he's coaching football to where it's going. That was an actual quote from the press conference that day.
Where it's going, right down the toilet.
Connie is watching.
Swearing on the I could swear here, right? Right down
Go
the
for
it.
Connie is watching. She says, "Thanks, Joe and Jake. Need a Hall of Fame voter to pound the table for Mark. Loving this."
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you, Connie. There's no question. I mean, I've talked to Gary Myers about it. I've talked to a couple other sports writers. This guy's a Hall of Famer. He was a great pass rusher. And again, I'm going to emphasize my point again. Connie, if you have a relationship with Joe and Marty, you need to talk to them. They got to stop banging the drum to get this guy in the Hall of Fame.
Power Fitness writes in, well, Aaron Rodgers set the all-time Jets single-season touchdown record this year.
I don't think he really has to. You know what? I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball 40, 45 times a game. I want to run the ball. We got this kid. Like I said, we got one of the premier, in my mind, Hall's one of the premier backs in the NFL. Now we got this kid, Allen, that they drafted from Wisconsin, who seemingly everybody's very high on. I want to run the ball. I want to be a run-first team. Let Aaron Rodgers throw the ball 20, 25 times a game. Okay, that's what I want to see. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need to throw 40 touchdown passes for us to be a championship caliber team. So I'm going to say he doesn't. I'll say no.
Big fella wants to know.
Let me just stop. The least amount of passes he throws, the better off we are.
Yeah, I mean, his average season is over 30 touchdown passes, which is crazy. That'd be a Jet record, just to put it in perspective. Big fella wants to know, Joe, more hated, Belichick, Shula, or Levy?
No, definitely Shula. I hate Shula. I had a little relationship at one time with Belichick. That's kind of gone by the boards now because of the massive hatred he has for the Jets. But Don Shula, to me, he hated the Jets. He never got over the fact that the Jets beat him in that Super Bowl in January of '69, and he did whatever he could. In that '82 championship game, man, he was going to do whatever he could to make sure he wasn't losing to them again. And I couldn't stand him. Not only that, but he was the head of the competition committee. The Dolphins all those years got every call. They got every call there was. And let's be honest, okay, about Shula. I know he won 2 Super Bowls. He had arguably the greatest team of all time, the '72 undefeated Dolphin team. That was a great team. They won back-to-back and all of that. Greasy, Zonka, Warfield, Bonacani, all those guys. Great team. No doubt. Can't dispute it, right? But after that, he had one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever lived, right? I mean, right up there. Probably, certainly top 10 quarterback of all time, maybe top 5. And he didn't win anything. You went to 1 Super Bowl, and that was it. So, was he really that great a coach? He was good. He was good. He's a Hall of Fame coach. But, he's not Belichick. I'll tell you that. He's not Belichick.
Got a couple minutes left with Joe B, so last chance to get your question read. Super chats will cut the line. Here's a question, not really a question, but more so, can you just tell the story, because you've told it on the radio a couple times. The great story where you ended up getting dinner with Belichick and Mike Tannenbaum before the Jets playoff game against the Jaguars in '98.
Yeah, well, I'll try to make it short. When Belichick was with Parcells in New England, those years I was doing the overnight in the '90s. And Belichick, we had 50,000 watt station, whatever it was. You could hear it everywhere, especially, 3 o'clock in the morning. You could hear it in Canada, So Belichick would actually listen to me driving in early in the morning to go to Foxborough. So when Parcells takes over the Jet job, I get word from somebody. I forget who it was. Maybe it was one of the writers. I don't know who it was. Hey, Belichick wants to meet you. I'm like, wow, Belichick wants to meet me. I'm like, okay, well, that's happening, So I went out to Hofstra to meet him, and actually went out there a couple times. I remember one time we went out there. He was actually showing me game film. Jake, I'm watching game film with Belichick. And it's funny because he would always ask me to come I was doing the overnight anyway, so it was convenient, come 6, 7 o'clock at night, which was convenient for me at that time to do, because Parcells would be gone. He wanted Parcells out before he invited me in there. And so I developed a little relationship with him. So the day they won the division in '98, first time they'd won the division since, the AFL days, Saturday game, they beat the Bills in Buffalo. Dedrick Ward caught a big touchdown. I don't know if it was a touchdown pass or kick return, whatever it was. They had a big day. I get a phone right after the game. I'm delirious. I get a phone call from my wife. Says to me, hey, Bears Najarian, who was Belichick's personal secretary, whatever you want to call it, personal PR person, went with him to New England as well, is on the phone. I go downstairs. He says, somebody wants to talk to you. Belichick comes on. And he goes, how you feeling? He goes, Belichick's telling me this. Congratulations on winning the division. I said, Coach, thank you. I mean, So about a week or so later, I get a call that he says, look, I want to invite you to dinner. We went to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Oh, no, it was Peter Luger's out in Long Island. Peter Luger's out in Long Island.
Great neck, yeah.
Right. And it was Belichick, the late great Dave Jennings, Mike Tannenbaum, and Bears Najarian. And I went to dinner because I was, I'm doing the overnights. This is 1998. We're doing the overnights. And we go to dinner. And at dinner, he hands me 4 tickets to the playoff game against Jacksonville. I will never forget that. So that was pretty good, no doubt.
Does it surprise you that he didn't get a head coaching job?
That I didn't get a head coaching job?
No, Belichick didn't get a head coaching job.
Oh, you mean with the Jets?
Well, just since he got fired in New England.
Oh, you mean now?
Yeah.
No, a little bit. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get the Atlanta job. Really, I thought he was going to Dallas. I thought McCarthy, after that debacle in the playoff loss to Green Bay last year by the Cowboys, and I like Mike McCarthy. The Jets should have hired him instead of Adam Gase, but that's another story. But after that disaster, I thought McCarthy was done. I'm like, Jones is not bringing McCarthy back. I was shocked. And I thought it made all the sense in the world for Belichick to go there. A ready-made team, right? They win 12 games every year. Belichick, maybe not a prohibitive division either, and the NFC is not great to begin with. Belichick maybe puts them over the hump. So I was surprised that he didn't go to the Cowboys. Then I was more surprised that he didn't get the Atlanta job. I don't think he's coaching again, Jake. I think he's done. I think it's over for him. I really do.
Yeah, I think you're right. This super chat is from VR at the buzzer here. Anytime the Jets do something bad, oh, the pain is your voice in my head. You the best, Joe B. What's it like to be synonymous with pain for the sports teams you root for, especially the Jets, Joe?
There's a lot of pain, man. I said this before. I'm watching sports since 19. I became. The first team I really became a real fan of is probably the Mets in 1962. The Mets, the Knicks, and the Rangers all kind of the same time. I didn't become a Jet fan until 65 when Namath got there. I was 12 years old. That's when I became a Jet fan. Lucky me. So, but the other three teams, I was already rooting for them. I became a Met fan. That was a brilliant move too. Here's this new team coming into New York. This is my team. I'm 9 years old. What did I know? My head's squarely up my rear end. But anyway, these are my teams. So, and I said this before, I've seen 6 championships total in all those years. In 200-something sports years, if you want to factor in all the different years and all the teams. I haven't seen one in 30 years. The last one the Rangers won. The only one in 84 years. So I'm starving, man. I'm dying. I need 6 wins. I want to win. I want this championship, man, because I'll tell you, I don't know. Look, the Jets look good. Obviously, the Mets are a disaster. The Knicks are a good team. They're close, but they're still not there. They're probably one guy away. Maybe that guy is Julius Randle if he was healthy. I don't know. But at least the Knicks are not in the abyss that they were in for 20 years, right? But the Jets, the Rangers have been a good team for a long time. I mean, this is the 5th time since 2012 that they're going to the conference finals. They've been 2014. They went to the finals with Henrik and they lost to the Kings and all that. So they've been a good team for a long time. They're in the playoffs basically every year. This is the team. If they don't win this year, when the hell are they winning? So I need a championship, and I don't care who it is. One of my teams, please, because I don't know if I'm ever seeing another one, Jake. I really don't.
When the Jets win the division this year, Joe, Saleh better call you the same way Belichick did back in '98.
Yeah, don't count on that. I'll call him. I'll be in touch with him. I'll congratulate him before he congratulates me. I think that's probably how that'll go down.
All right, Joe, before you run here, the podcast Oh the Pain. Obviously, everyone knows you've been doing a podcast since you retired for full-time work at the Fan. When is the next live show, and what do you have cooking up on the podcast these next couple of weeks?
Well, tomorrow will be the next podcast, Friday. It'll be very heavy. We're going to be breaking down tonight's Ranger Florida Game 5, hopefully with a smile on my face. Oh, God, please. Hear my wife, oh, God, please. We'll see. But we'll be talking about that. And I got to talk about the Mets. The Mets are such a disaster. Oh, God. Really. And as I say, I'll say it to my Met fan brethren again, bro. We're in for a lot of bad years. This is the beginning. This is the Seaver trade in 1977, that kind of year. And we went like 7 or 8 years, 6, 7 years of just being a bad team. Get ready for that.
Joe, I can't wait to see you in person. It's got to be, at some point this summer, you and Kenny got to get together again. Yep. And it's
now, Jake, I got to ask you a question before I leave.
Yeah.
You're in Manhattan, you're not in Texas anymore. I don't know why you would leave Texas. Manhattan, but, I don't know if that's the smartest move. But with that said, you're in the city now. Are you dating is there any truth to the rumor that you and Emily Ratajkowski are an item? Is there any truth to that rumor? Yeah,
look, I could neither confirm nor deny that, Joe, but let's just say we're having a lot of fun since we moved back home.
All right, good. Stay out of trouble, bro. You know what I mean? Those girls, hey, Jake, those girls can be expensive. You know what I mean?
That's right. Joe, I'll quote you as we wrap here. All the love, bro.
Jake, all the love, bro. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for having me on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Joe Benigno. Check out the podcast. The Page. You still can listen to it part-time on The Fan as well. Always a blast to catch up with Joe. Got a bunch of people on hold that want to call into the show, so we'll take a quick commercial break, come back, more of your calls, your super chats, all that and more. Thanks again to the great Joe B. and, of course, his wife, the lovely Terry, for helping organize Joe B. coming back on the show for the first time since the end of last season. Quick break. We're back with boards. Jake Asman with you right here on YouTube.
The New York Jets.
Come on!
Select Will McDonald, linebacker,
What?
Iowa State.
What the
Let's
fuck?
go.
I can't believe this shit! What the fuck
Hey, there we go. Light it up, Ricky. Yeah, let's get back to your calls right now. One of our favorites is on the Ghostbuster hotline. Ricky NY joins us now. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, Jake.
Hey, Ricky, how you doing?
Thanks for taking my call, Jake. I just finished smoking all the available weed in the panhandle, so bear with me if I collapse here in front of my personalized flag. Any chance you could send that boxing guy, Gary, to the Jameis Winston town? Maybe Gator can build a special hall for quarterbacks who throw more interceptions than completed passes. Well, not a Florida guy, but can go to Seminoles all the way there. If you got a whole lot, just get all of them in there. I don't give a shit. Well, I think I got to relight this thing. Hold on a second. I just got this new blowtorch lighter. Let's try it out. Try it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Should have backed off that setting a bit. Anyway, Jake, I'll hang up for now and grab the burn kit again. Later, brother.
Oh,
We're back right here. Thanks again to Joe B for joining the show. Today's Jake Asman Show presented by my Patreon channel. Jet fans, if you haven't joined yet, you're missing out. Bonus content, this show in audio form, access to our Discord channel, and more importantly, information about our Long Island meetup on June 20th. We're allowing Patreon members to have first dibs at our Long Island meetup in Hicksville on June 20th. Also, if you are interested in attending Jets Texans with your fellow Asmaniacs, we have a group buy. I need an accurate head count by the end of the week. So join the Patreon, message me there or on Discord, and we'll add your name to the list so we could give the Jets an accurate number of how many tickets we need. They are extremely discounted. A ticket in the lower bowl, just $135 roughly, way cheaper than normal because listener Matt Volpe is a longtime Jet season ticket holder, and he gets a significant group discount rate. So we're taking advantage of that. So if you want to join us for Jets Texans on Halloween, join my Patreon, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Shout out to Wayne Von Mutis, Cali Jet fan, Tim from Fishland, and Jasham Reeves for being our most recent Patreon subscribers. All right, comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Of course, it is time to read some of your super chats and take some of your calls on the Gusbuster hotline. If you go to gusbuster.com, you could purchase the best umbrella in the universe. And you could use the promo code Jake, so you'll get 15% off on any of your umbrellas. Craig starts us off. He says, it sounds like it's time I linked you up with Margot. Craig, if you connect me with Margot Robbie, I mean, you're already one of the greats of all time. I think you're the number one GOAT. No other way to put it. No other way to put it. All right, here we go. Comments, questions, super chats. Get to your calls. VR is first up on the Gusbuster hotline today. What's up, VR?
Hey, what's going on, Jake? Man, what a great interview, man. Jake, you spoil us as maniacs because you bring the heat every single time with these different, Fireman Ed, Joe Benigno. I salute you. You do such a service for us Jets fans because these are the people. These are the voice of us, the Jets fans. And I was serious in my super chat when I said his voice is in my head when the Jets do something wrong. Some people hear Homer Simpson go dope or like other stuff. Oh, the pain is what I hear when we have bad loss or a bad play or something like that. Mostly when Zach threw any kind of pass. So yeah, thank you, Jake, for offering us that content and bringing the heat every time with your guests, especially during this time when it's like the doldrums of sports. Waiting around to see what passes Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to Garrett Wilson in OTAs. So thank you for that. I've been listening, since I was young to sports talk radio. I don't know if you remember WABC with Art Rush Jr. and back then, but the Steve Summers show and the overnights and that Benigno did. That was something I used to work overnights back in 1996 through 99 for the state of New York. And listening to them and calling into the shows. I was a big time caller. My name was Vic from Brooklyn. So it's funny.
Nice.
When he does the salsa dance and he says, "Oh, Victor." Yeah, I know he's talking about Victor Cruz, but I personalized that because he's just such a great guy, and I love him for being real and genuine and the historic value that he has, and it's just great stuff, man. That's really all I call in to say, man. But thank you, Jake.
Yeah, VR. Well, a couple things, man. One, thank you so much for the kind words, and that's one of the things that I love about this platform here, right? Like anyone can do Jets talk. I think what separates this channel from other fan channels out there is one, the Asmaniac community is the best, and then we just try and bring in the best possible guests to kind of enhance the conversation. We have our regulars, we have the weeklies during the football season and the off season, and then we got to get Fireman on, we got to get Joby on, we got to get people who cover the team that are in the building every day, former players like Bilal Powell, Nick Mangold, all these guys, Wayne Corbett, who's joined us in the off season so far. So I appreciate it, man. It means a lot. And also that shirt you're wearing, absolute fire, man. That's sick.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, this one is I got a next one tomorrow, so I'll call in with that one. And this is just like something that was made especially a special edition. So you can't find this in the stores, man. So I bring the heat with the clothes, right?
Looks great, dude. Great
Take
job.
care, buddy. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great VR checking in. Always the most fashionable Jet fan, one could say, that calls the show. ISU says, agree with VR. The best part is your interviews are more like live broadcasting, a regular conversation. Thank you, ISU. I appreciate that. I love doing the YouTube interviews better than radio interviews because radio, you have a finite amount of time. Like with Joe, we had an hour to go through the current team, of course, but then we could go deep diving into the history of the team, which is a lot of fun. And we can talk about the Mets and the Rangers. I mean, Joe, you people, I saw someone comment, "Oh, Joe's not a real fan. He's too negative." There's a lot of things you could say about Joe B. Not a real fan is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. But I think Joe, who's been a sports fan, as he said, since 1962, has every reason to be negative with the teams he's rooted for. that doesn't mean he's not a real fan. First State Jet says, what is the opinion on Rodgers rubbing his feet controversy? Haters are trying to make it a thing. If you think that Aaron Rodgers somehow got hurt yesterday and you're believing this video that SNY should not have even posted because it's silly, I don't know what to tell people. He had a blister on his foot. You could see the blister pad they put on. He had his helmet on the whole time. He finished practice. This was before the team period where he lit it up. Oh my God, I can't. I understand we're all paranoid with Rodgers. That was that was real trauma we went through last year. But Aaron Rodgers is fine, folks. God. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Once again, shout out to the great Joe Benigno, who, of course, gave us an hour of his time if you're just tuning in late. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss any questions here. Shout out to Connie Carberg, who gave us a super chat before. We love you, Connie. She is the best. We got to get her back on the show. Connie was nice enough to join us on day 3 of our megacast during the NFL draft. More calls right now. Bill is up next. Hello, Bill.
Hey, how are you? I thought Joe was going to stay on for some of the calls, so I'm kind of disappointed in that. So I made a comment, too, that you should invite Aaron Rodgers. And if Rodgers say yes, you can have McAfee come on as well. This way you can interview them both at the same time.
I don't know if I'll get a word in if we had them both out at the same time.
Oh, well, try it. You'll never know.
I'll take them one by one. I won't complain.
Yeah. I mean, Joe and I both have in common the same 4 teams in terms of the Mets, Knicks, Rangers and Jets as fans. He's been a Met fan a little bit longer than I have. He said he's been a fan since '62, and I started to follow him around 1965 when I was 7. So he has a few years on me with regards to that. We do, as fans, get a little negative when the teams don't perform as well as we feel they should. But I think that's normal. I don't care whose fan base you're with. And the fact that even with since we've had more years of heartbreak than euphoria, we're still with our teams. We haven't left them. So it just comes with being a fan, no matter what fan base you're on. As far as the Rangers go, I do root for them to win this series. I do think that they have the personnel to get the job done against Florida and then to move on. It's been wonderful since Glenn Sather had become GM all those years ago. He focused on building the team from within rather than hire all these free agents from other teams. It's just focus on developing young players, and that's why the team has gotten a lot younger over the years. And we should be seeing a lot more competitive, solid playoff years from them going forward.
Hey, Bill,
yes.
Are you related to V-Man?
No, sir. We're Puerto Rican, but that's Puerto Rican Americans. Let's put it that way. I'm sure that he's also born here in the U.S. like I am, born in New York. Born and raised New York City boy, one of the original Latins from Manhattan. Yeah,
it's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he not sleeping. Adios mio.
Oh, hey.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
V-Man, what's happening?
I'm gonna ask you, you're gonna be out the 116th?
I'm sorry, say it again.
You're gonna be out the one. Yeah, you're gonna be at the one. Where are you now? I'm gonna be out the 116th Street Festival this year.
I don't think I've ever been to one of them.
Wow, you guys are together.
I've been to the Puerto Rican Day Parade the week after, but as far as the Spanish Harlem festival that comes the week before, no, I don't think I've been to any of them.
No, it's not the week before. It's the day before. It's the Saturday before the parade. The parade's on Sunday. The festival.
Could have sworn that it was what was it? The Spanish Harlem thing was the week before the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and then of course Father's Day comes after that.
Maybe at one point, but now maybe at one point it was that they rescheduled to be it's the Saturday before the parade.
Okay, all right. Well,
that's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
And that was Talking Puerto Rico here on the Jake Asman Show. More of your calls right now. Let's go to Tim from Fishland. What's up, Tim?
What's up, Jake? Joe Benigno, man. Oh, dude, man. He reminds me so much of my old man. They're about the same age. They're so pessimistic about the Jets. He's like, I don't give a shit. I want to see it. I'm tired of this crap. He's like, Timothy, you don't know what I've dealt with being a Jets fan, this and that. Because I think he's a year older than Joe, my dad. So it's good to hear Joe. And Joe's hilarious when he goes on with Tiki and what's his name and Evan Roberts.
He's the best. I mean,
it's hysterical. But other than that, how did the stream go yesterday on the Discord? How did it look?
I didn't get to see it. I saw it briefly, but you couldn't hear anything. That was the thing. Like you couldn't hear anyone talk. You just saw like someone. Was that you playing Madden, right?
Yeah. I got to figure it out because I think my internet will only work if it's like just me on it. If my old lady's watching TV in the other room, that's where we have issues. I got to figure out a way to basically put it on my Twitch and then take the Twitch link and put it on the Discord.
We'll figure it out. I'm glad that you're a part of the Patreon now, though, Tim. It's exciting to have you aboard.
All right, yeah. I lost 2 yesterday, 2 heartbreakers, like the goddamn 49ers defense in the Super Bowl. Fucking 30 seconds left. Oh, my God. Drives me nuts.
Tim, all the love. Super chat here. Paolo, he writes in, tried to call in a second ago. Wanted to sing Let's Go Jets, 1964 Sammy K theme song to Joe B. Maybe next time. JETS, 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 Jets. I like it. V-Man says, Jake, come to the 116th Street Festival. V-Man, if you're there, maybe I have to stop by to see you. Maybe I'll stop by. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the line is a former Jet great, Kyle Clifton. Hello, Kyle.
What's going on, Jake? It's pretty good video pod there with Benigno. Good content. The one thing that you guys didn't really – oh, boy. The one thing that you guys didn't really cover was some of the great linebackers. I mean, Joe mentioned Mel, but Crable and Harris didn't get any love, and some of the current guys, I would think that they would be in the underrated or favorite category for some, if not necessarily the rush conversation.
Yeah,
Kyle Clifton.
Yeah, 100%. You, David Harris, I think, would be someone in there that I would mention. Bad internet by Kyle Clifton. Tough. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is a man who has the worst takes ever uttered in the history of this program, Gary in Fort Worth. Hello, Gary.
What's up, Jake? I wanted to just clarify a couple of things.
Again?
First, chicken doesn't go with pasta. Don't you know it's disgusting? Chicken can't go with pasta. Why? Because of the texture. Instead, go get yourself pizza at the closest Shell gas station, because chicken don't go with pasta. I just discovered all your pets.
Oh, my God. I thought that was really Gary, and I was going to get annoyed because I'm like, what are you clarifying again? Your takes are dog crap. You then change them and try and move the goalpost. And I'm glad that wasn't actually Gary. Oh, my God. I got gated. No other way to put it. That was awesome. That was tremendous. Wow. Oh, my God. I can't wait to watch that back. I don't even know what just happened. Incredible. Hit the like button, smash the Gator emoji and the Gary emoji if you're a channel member. We've gained no new members so far. Someone, give someone a membership after that. Oh, my God. That was unbelievable. Mike L says, Gator, I think you are the greatest Asmaniac. Gator's got to be right there with anyone, man. Oh, my God, was that funny. V-Man says, Jake, I will be at the 116th Street Festival on June 8th. I think I'm actually out of town that weekend, V-Man. Sorry to disappoint you. I think I'm in Boston that weekend. But don't worry. I'll see you at a Jet game soon, I'm sure. All right, more of your calls right now. I don't know how we topped that one. Good God. That was something. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is Bobby Midnight.
Well, you know that Al's a lion crap of crap. You should check out my new hat. The Jets are freaking awesome. Bobby.
Hi, Jake.
Bobby, you have a new living room.
Yes, I do. I put it on my StreamYard. Yes,
what do you mean? That looks real.
I put it on the StreamYard. Look what I got from Gator.
Is that not actually your house?
No,
I can't see you.
I know. I'm showing you Gator.
Yeah, but we can't see you. You keep disappearing as you move.
I know. I got to get rid of this damn thing.
Yeah, get rid of the background.
Well, I can't do it from now. Here.
Yeah, you can. Hit settings and then go into virtual background and hit none.
Oh, hold on.
Unless that's actually your new living room.
No, that's not my new room.
Are you a ghost, Bobby?
Okay.
There we go.
All right, that's better. Look what Gator got me.
Gator didn't get you that.
Who got me that?
A listener who wanted to remain anonymous. Otherwise, I would tell you who got it for you.
Well, thank you very much for the listener. I still didn't get Gator's thing yet. The microphone.
It's coming. But that jersey, hold up that jersey again. A listener, that is an authentic number 11, the number you requested.
Yeah.
Jets jersey for you to wear throughout the Jets season now.
Yep, I could do that. Definitely.
There it is. How about that?
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, whoever sent it to me. I don't know who.
One day I'll tell you, Bobby.
Joe
I wanted to remain anonymous.
Thanks for having Joe on. He's a great guy. I used to call his show a lot like VR did, and we used to have good times.
Love it.
So,
when's your next show, Bobby?
Well,
what time are you going on?
I think after you. Are you going to join it after?
Maybe.
You better.
Yeah. What time are you going on? I need an exact time.
Right after your show ends.
No. I need an exact time. This is what you do to me. I'm doing it to you.
All right. What time are you ending?
I don't know.
Well, after your show, I don't know. Now,
all right.
Let's see. Now, 12 o'clock.
All right. I'll see you there.
Well, you know I love to talk and hate to tell you, Jake. When is your next show? Alan is a cartoon character. Bobby.
What a jersey by Bob. At first, I thought he got a new living room or he was a ghost. ISU says it was Woody Johnson that sent it to Bobby. He wanted to rub it in Mara's face that Bobby switched allegiances. Perhaps. Ladies and gentlemen, we asked for gift memberships for the people, and the best audience in sports came through. First, we start with VR, who has given the gift of one channel membership to the following listener. That listener is R&R, and then sound the alarms. Andrew Kennedy's back. 5 channel memberships have been gifted to Card Cave Central, G-Star, BP York, Derek M95, and Jets Forever, not to be confused with Jets Forever, who is banned for life. Unbelievable. Unreal. Mike says, Jake, do you have a top 5 list of Asmaniacs? I don't. That's too tough of a list to put together. Too many deserving names. Ricky writes in, Bobby, when are you going to have me on? Yeah, Bobby, when are you having Ricky on the show? He got great internet just to do the call-in. He improved it. Big fella says, how the heck am I supposed to do any work with that Gary video? LOL. This show is the best. That was unbelievable. And you know what's funny? People think like, oh, Gator tells you when he's going to do this stuff. He doesn't. I got fooled. I just thought that was a regular call-in. Had no idea. More calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, NY Jets Florida is on the Gusbuster hotline. What's up, NY?
Jake, good morning. I think that's in the Gator top 3 of all time history. That Gary call was fantastic. I think you're a little too high profile for Radkowski. I think you kind of the limelight for her. Joe B threw that out there, but Joe B's awesome. I mean, can you try to get him to the tailgate in Miami, Joe? Jake, can you try to get him down there? He lives down there, right?
No, he lives in Jersey.
Oh, I thought he lived in Florida part time.
He does not.
Oh, okay. My misunderstanding. Maybe he's just down there a lot. All right, Jake. Well, the Gator call was classic. I mean, I don't know how you can beat that. Actually, I was trying to call in to ask Joe B if he liked pasta with his chicken, but you weren't taking.
Goodbye, NY. Oh my God, I can't deal with Gary's takes anymore. It's an epidemic. We got to stop it. God, more calls right now. Dirty on line 1. What's up, Dirty?
Yo, it's been a while, man. I hope everything is well over there. It's great when we're getting other people paying for memberships that have been banned. Like, I mean, that's pretty good, right? I mean, obviously we're a pretty good Jet society if that's the case.
That's not the Jets Forever that just got one. Sorry to burst your bubble.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it would feel good, I guess, for Jets Forever, the Jets Forever. But I have a bone to pick, not with you, but like, I understand that Alan is the negative guy here, but if you're worried about cap space, that's not even your or cap. That's not even your money, the dead cap, $54 million. Like, and that's one of our issues. That's our problem that we have to work on. And looking at Ruckert, who's in depth of tight end, and we're nitpicking now, then I'd say we're in a pretty good friggin' spot. And our depth for O-line, I believe, is pretty damn good. So, I mean, going into these OTAs and these camps and these mini camps, look, everybody's going to nitpick everything, but we're on our way to something great here. And I think people need to, honestly, they need to buckle in because it's going to be a good fucking ride. I really do.
Stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. Aaron being healthy, the number one thing by far.
Yeah. I just don't see why everybody's got to nitpick at this and that. We've been asking for a quarterback. Cool. We had no tight ends before Joe Douglas came in. Now we got tight ends. We didn't have a defensive line or one pass rusher. We have multiple now. You know, like, can we stop whining and complaining and enjoy what we have right in front of us right now?
Hey, enjoy the moment, man. I mean, it's gonna be a fun year. You know, you can't predict injuries. You just have to hope that they get a little luck and the rest of the team does the rest, because they're certainly talented enough to be one of the better teams in the league. I believe it too. Dirty, your internet was choppy at the end there, but we got your point. Good to hear from you, my man. Big Fella says, when are you going to announce the time for the Asmaniac All 22? Stay tuned, Big Fella. Stay tuned. It's coming. Maybe this afternoon. Maybe. Steven says, good morning, Jake. Just got finished with the doctor and put this on. Miss Joe B. I'm sure you didn't have too much to say. Would you please just tell everything? If you want an hour of unfiltered Joe B, rewind to the beginning of the video because it's epic. Hit the like button if you're just tuned in right now. Only 205 likes, 341 people watching live. The math is not mathing. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the calls right now because joining us is a true ghost on line one.
Well, you know, I love the Yankees and the Jets, and to read the Super Chats are more than just a hat. Bobby.
Bobby Ghost, how are you?
How am I doing now? Is that better?
You're a ghost. I can barely see you.
I know, but it doesn't look better now.
Why is MetLife Stadium so crowded in the middle of the day on a Thursday?
I don't know. I'm just trying different backgrounds. Maybe I'll just go with the empty.
Bobby Ghost.
Maybe I'll just go with. I probably need more light. Do I need more light, you think?
I don't know if it matters. You're just a ghost.
I need a green screen. I think I don't have a green screen. OBS used to take care of for us, so. But I don't like that one. I like this one better.
Hey, Bobby, is your favorite? Is your favorite holiday Halloween?
Well, no. I'll talk to you on my. I'll talk to you on my channel about Halloween. Okay. No, I don't like Halloween anymore.
Do you have a Halloween costume?
Yeah, it's me.
You're just going as yourself?
Yeah, but I don't like Halloween. I'm going to tell you why in my channel. I'm going to get you in trouble.
Do they call you Casper, Bobby?
No.
No?
Okay, I got to get it better. How's that better?
You still look like a ghost.
Okay, well, I'm going to get off of this stupid. It's not working.
All right, thanks for the time.
Well, you know that Al's a lion crap of crap. You should check out my new hat. The Jets are freaking awesome. Bobby.
I mean, folks, if you're not tuned into Bobby's show, you're missing out. I got to hear his thoughts on Halloween. M. Villette says Bobby's a channel plugging machine. Oh, yeah. He surpassed Charles Gorman for channel plugs. All right, open phone lines. Last chance to get in. If you're tuned in late, the great Joe B joined us. And folks, I have been in the radio industry for a long time. Not as long as Joe, obviously. But, you know, one of the things you do in radio is you give a live read for a product or a service or something, right? And I do it on this show when you hear me talk about some of our great sponsors like Fanatics or Underdog, Copper Johns or Mando deodorant or Liquid IV or Hugo House. But I'll tell you what, Joe Benigno, I believe, gave the greatest live read ever on his podcast not too long ago.
Hey, Joe Benigno here. Now, I don't know about you, but for years I struggled with grooming the family jewels. Oh my God, did I have trouble doing this? You know what I was using? I was using this. I'm grooming myself down below with this monstrosity of a scissor. You got to be kidding me. And I was getting along okay, but I was never getting the results I really wanted. And then one day, things finally changed for good. I'm grooming myself down below with the scissor, and we had a little bit of an accident. Well, it was traumatic. The trauma, nobody wants to have an accident when it comes to the family jewels. There was a little blood. I even had to put a Band-Aid on it. Oh God, it wasn't pretty. Well, thankfully, not too long after that, I made sure everything was in working order, if you know what I mean. But I said to myself, I'm done. Benigno is done. I got to find something better than this. So a good friend of mine came over one day and says, Joe, you having an issue grooming the family jewels? I said, yeah, it's been a problem. In fact, I even cut myself the other day. He said, you ever see Manscaped? You ever check out the Manscaped? I said, no, what the hell is Manscaped? This was the result I've been looking for years. And not only were the family jewels groomed to, I guess as close to perfection as you could get, but my penis looked bigger. And let's be honest, there's no guy out there that doesn't want his penis to look bigger.
The best live read I've ever heard. Joe B. Unreal. All right, maybe our last caller right now. Johnny Boy up next. What's up, Johnny?
Bro, how can I go after that, bro? Yo, my penis look bigger. What? Yo, Joe is everybody's uncle, man. That dude reminds me so much of my uncle from back home and out in Long Island, dude. Fuck. Yeah, I don't even know what I was calling for anymore. That shit just threw me for a full loop, bro. Hey, if you have another thing, I'll probably remember it later on, man. But, hey, Manscaped, makes your penis bigger.
Johnny Boy, thank you for the time. Well said. Folks, unbelievable. Today's Jake Asman Show, presented by my friends at Fanatics. Jet fans, want the hat I'm wearing? It's one of the hats you could purchase through Fanatics. Just check it out. Got a bunch of hats listed. Click the one you like. Get it through Fanatics. You help support this channel. Shout out to Fanatics for being an official affiliate partner of the Jake Asman Show. Also, want to announce that today's show is presented by Underdog Fantasy. Folks, Underdog Fantasy has an unbelievable deal right now. If you're a new customer, you can mix and match sports with Underdog picks. But more importantly, if you've never signed up before, use promo code Asman and they'll give you a 50% deposit match up to $250. Bro, it's the best deal. Maybe not as good as Joe's deal with Manscaped, but it's a great deal. It's actually, you know what? I changed my mind. It's a better deal. But seriously, if you've never played Underdog, they've been an unbelievable sponsor of mine. A lot of fun. Rangers tonight, baseball, Yankees are winning. How about Luis Heel? The Mets are terrible. Pick against them. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Asman, 50% deposit match up to $250. Also on my channel, UFC fans, had a great interview with Randy Brown this morning. It will air on my Sirius show on Mad Dog Radio on Saturday. Randy Brown from Queens fighting on the main card of UFC 302 this Saturday in Newark. That's the Poirier-Makhachev card. So Randy Brown, a native New Yorker, also a Jet fan, he joined the show this morning. I put the interview already up on the channel if you want more content that is not football related. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats here. If everyone has not hit the like button yet, I don't know what to tell you. Not a super chat, but a good question from Derek. Jake, thoughts on the contract the Dolphins just gave Waddle? Garrett Wilson is going to be paid more than that a year from now, especially when he has the year he's about to have with Rodgers. So be ready, Jet fans. You want to keep Sauce? You want to keep Garrett? You're giving them major paydays. Sauce will break the record for a DB. Garrett will be paid like a top 5 receiver because he'll be the next guy up. That's how it goes. Anyway. All right. Appreciate everyone who tuned into the show. I end today's show by saying I will be back at roughly 5 p.m. Eastern today with the Buffalo Jet fan joining us. And I also end the show by saying, shout out to Gary. Enjoy the chicken song, folks. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Chicken doesn't go with pasta. Don't you know it's disgusting? Chicken can't go with pasta. Why? Because of the texture. Instead, go get yourself pizza at the closest Shell gas station, 'cause chicken don't go with pasta. I just discovered dogs are pets.